The top five black wrestlers in WWE history. Let's get right into it. But before, don't forget to subscribe at Wrestling with Things. Follow me on Instagram at DavidDJ95. Let's get right into it. In honor of Black History Month, we are going to see who the best black wrestlers are. And I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know in the comments. And for the sake of making this a little bit more interesting, I consider The Rock a black wrestler, but I think it would be way too easy with his star power to put him over everybody, in my personal opinion. So I'm going to leave The Rock out of this. So let's start with number five. I am going to go with Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog was really big in the 80s, especially in the time where the amount of black wrestlers was extremely limited. He was absolutely a draw in the territory days. He's a multi-time six-man tag champion, had some WrestleMania moments in there, and he was one of the first pioneers of giving us representation and one of the first wrestlers to cross over from the NFL successfully into professional wrestling. And he was huge, damn near 300 pounds, but light on his feet, could work in the ring, had excellent showmanship and a connection with the audience. I'm going to show Junkyard Dog love for the fifth spot. Number four, this may surprise some people, but I got to give him his due because of his longevity, because of his body of work, because of his adaptability on any part of the card. If you put him in the tag team, he'll do all right. You put him in the mid card, he'll do pretty good. You put him in the main event, he will do pretty good. I'm talking about Kofi Kingston. Look, it was just a few years ago where we saw Kofi Mania. That was lightning in the bottle, and he won the WWE Championship and was a good ambassador for the company. Took the championship back to his home country of Africa. And listen, Kofi Kingston is extremely decorated, a multiple time United States champion, multiple time Intercontinental champion in the Ruthless Aggression era where the mid card was stacked, multiple time tag team champion as part of arguably one of the greatest stables and tag teams ever in the New Day. And he had the icing on the cake by beating Daniel Bryan, one of the greatest technical wrestlers ever in WrestleMania, excuse me. So I definitely think Kofi Kingston, with his body of work, with his consistency, deserves to be in the top five. And an underrated thing that doesn't get talked about with Kofi Kingston, I don't think I could remember a time where Kofi had a major surgery or a major injury that caused him to miss major amount of time. Like for a guy who takes a lot of risks and high flies really well, he's very durable and doesn't get too hurt. So I gotta respect my man Kofi Kingston on there. New Day rocks. Number three, I kind of struggled with back and forth between three and four, but I'm gonna give this man his due. The world's strongest man, Mark Henry. He contributes out of the ring as a commentator on Busted Open Radio. That's a nice podcast and show that Mark Henry's one of the hosts on. But listen, this guy won the World's Strongest Man competition, came to WWE, was Sexual Chocolate, one of the funniest and most entertaining gimmicks ever. He showed his range as a giant by being able to make you laugh, but he also could make you scared and intimidated because he's so strong and powerful. Then took a small break from WWE just for a moment to go back and win the World's Strongest Man competition as pro wrestler Mark Henry. That is an unbelievably hard thing to do. And he's really a once in a lifetime athlete. The Hall of Pain, his run as world heavyweight champion, is one of the better runs from a super heavyweight and one of the better world heavyweight championship runs in history, in my opinion. And Mark Henry was just the epitome of making lemons out of lemonade, whatever gimmick you gave him, he's gonna do his best with it. And he is just one of those veterans that I think anybody could learn anything off of. And he has an eye for talent. He discovered Bianca Belair amongst many other superstars. He encouraged WWE to call Daniel Bryan to give him a fair look. Mark Henry is just great in and out of the ring as an ambassador and a pro wrestler. Number two, he is in AEW, but a lot of his legacy was built largely in WWE, but wherever he is, he's great. The almighty Bobby Lashley. I think Bobby Lashley somewhat gets underrated in history amongst wrestlers, period, of any ethnicity or color. But multiple time world champion, ECW world champion, made that ECW championship stand out in a time where ECW was mostly the third wheel brand. Um, had some of the best matches in the Ruthless Aggression era against the likes of Batista, Booker T, JBL, you name it, United States champion. He's the AEW tag team champion right now, leader of the Hurt Business / Hurt Syndicate, one of the better factions in modern day history. And many people like to say Bobby Lashley can't talk or cut a promo, but I think that's a little overstated. I think he's proven when you let him run on the mic in spurts, he can hold his own. He held his own in the rivalry with Brock Lesnar, another career highlight of his. And I just think Bobby Lashley is number two, arguably number one. But I had to give number one to this guy, the five time WCW champion, but overall 6-time world champion, Booker T. Look, Booker T is just so versatile. You need him to do a little bit of comedy with Goldust in a tag team, he could do that. You need him to do some segments in a grocery store when he's selling a beatdown from Stone Cold Steve Austin, he could do that. You need him to go after Kurt Angle, who's stalking and creeping up on his wife, he can do that. Booker T makes everything work. Hell, he made King Booker work with a fake British accent. And that was just super entertaining. He's a multiple time tag team champion with his one of the best tag teams ever with Harlem Heat. He's given us so many incredible moments throughout his career in WCW and WWE. So I'm going to say that he is the greatest black wrestler of all time. But there's a lot of other black wrestlers that could have a fair say in this. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion. Let me know in the comments some black wrestlers you would like to honor and think that should be in the top 5 or top 10. Don't forget to subscribe at Wrestling with Things, like us, share our content out, and again, subscribe to us on YouTube at Wrestling with Things.